guys, welcome to another week of Strip by Sia. I'm so excited this week to bring on the wonderful and sexy Kate Maxx we have in the house today. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
We're so stoked to have her back. She's back in town for the next little bit, so I'm so glad we were able to catch her in town. So how's your stay been so far in Vancouver? You've been here for like a week?
Yeah, I got here a couple weeks ago. It's been good. It's been nice to get back to the West Coast pace, which is, a lot more chill. I get to take my time, I've been not dancing on stage this week, but working a lot on my online stuff. But yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a nice change.
Yeah, because you came, you spent quite a lot of time in Toronto, so I guess you kind of bounce back and forth between here and YYZ.
Yeah, here, Toronto, and Jamaica. Yeah.
Oh yes, which we'll get into topic later. I'm so excited to talk about all things naked, all things nude, and all things like swinger, all that stuff. So we're gonna get into that shortly. But can you kind of tell the audience what you do?
Well, I didn't really have a name for it, so I kind of made up my own job title, and that's a professional naked person. So that means I tour across Canada and do naked strip shows everywhere. I also am a content provider on my own OnlyFans as well as on SDC. I'm an educator. I just developed a lap dance course for intimacy. I MC swingers parties naked. All these jobs are naked, by the way. Nude model, nude actor, yeah, you name it, and add naked to it, I'll probably do it.
That's amazing. So, okay, that's a lot of things under your belt. Obviously, you had to start from somewhere. You're not just going to be naked all day. So, what's your story?
Well, I was pretty shy in high school, and I was, bullied a lot, but I also had this streak in me where I knew I didn't want to dress like everyone else, so I kind of started pushing the limits with fashion, just, wearing outfits that were a little more risque, like backless and whatever, and it kind of just evolved into, I knew I wasn't like everyone else. I knew that I wanted to kind of live on the more hedonistic, sexy side of life, and the older I got, the more it just kind of turned into that. But my very first experience in the whole nude world was, well, not necessarily nude, but one of my very first gigs was modeling lingerie at a lingerie store in the front window of their store.
Oh, wow. Really a live model kind of thing.
Yeah, and you dance around in the window, you change outfits, some people on the street love you, some people hate you, you cause car accidents,
Huge. How did you get presented with the opportunity? Was it just a random gig you found, or?
I've always been pretty outgoing, even when I was younger. So, I saw this as I was walking down the street one day in Toronto, and I just kind of walked into the store and asked them, I want to do that. How do I do that?
Amazing.
Yeah, so, and that's how that all started. And then things just kind of really, evolved from that into a whole bunch of other things.
And how long ago was that, you said?
That was quite a few years ago. That was right when I turned, I think, 18 or 19, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the beginning of everything.
The beginning of the end.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you started with that. I guess it was more like a modeling gig.
Yeah.
And then after that, what was your kind of journey? Did you start stripping next, or what kind of happened?
From that gig, I actually got into doing a nude calendar, an all Asian girl nude calendar.
Yes.
So that was so I started being more into the world of modeling. I was also dancing on a show called Electric Circus. So it was
I remember Electric Circus.
Yeah. For people that don't know, it's the show that you watched before you went out to the nightclubs. There was DJs on it. There's people that dressed all crazy.
I totally remember that.
Yeah, so I was on there. So I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do in entertainment. I did some music videos, and yeah, from there I was also very broke. When you're trying to be an artist and you're young, you don't really know how to do that.
Right.
So I was also very broke, and that turned into stripping. I had nothing against it. I was always, I always loved the shoes. I remember just always loving the shoes, even as
stilettos.
Yeah, even as a 13-year-old, I was oh my god, I love the shoes. I had no problems going into stripping. When I kind of made up my mind about it, it was all right, yeah, okay, we're gonna do it. That's
wow,
that's done.
That's so brave of you. You just sound like you've always been super headstrong into things. How did you break out of your shell? Because you just mentioned, you were kind of really shy growing up. You were bullied. married and you had those experiences, how did you kind of overcome that fear into being like completely fearless? Because being naked is a scary thing.
I think all the bullying and like all the hard times kind of just led up to that. Like, you know, when you get to this like breaking point and you're just like, okay, I really don't care. But there's the part where you tell everyone you don't care and you're trying to tell yourself that you don't care. And then when you actually get to the point where you're like, I really don't care what people think. If this is what, you know, if you have a problem with this, I'm still going to do it and you can have a problem with it. So things just kind of evolved from there. But I really do think like stripping and all the work that I've done naked has like really helped build my confidence. I mean, because if you can be that vulnerable and naked in front of people,
you kind of
have to be pretty fearless. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Was there like a pivotal moment that kind of stood out to you where you're just like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck what anyone says anymore, I'm just gonna do what I want?
There was a couple, you know, like there was like when I first started stripping and then, you know, my family found out about it and they obviously weren't happy. That was one of the moments where I was like, fuck it, I'm still gonna do it. There was another moment where I'd been abusing myself and abusing drugs pretty bad, and a lot of people want to say that stripping and drugs are tied together, and for me that's absolutely not true. Like my drug use did not stem from my stripping, and that was another moment where I'd say like fuck it to the professionals, like fuck what you think, like this this is a part of my life and who I am, and the drugs don't have to be. So that was another part where I had to say kind of like fuck it to like conventional thoughts. And then the other thing was when social media got really big and like I had to make the decision between okay, being completely out there and putting my name and my brand out there, or being ashamed and worried about what would my friends or family think, because at this point really everyone knows what I do anyway. Everyone knows I'm a total weirdo.
Yay!
So yeah, there's that other point where like, you know, when you go on social media and you're actually like, nope, this is what I do, like I'm really putting it out there. That was another kind of like fuck it moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always more than one, I think.
Totally.
There's always different challenges.
Oh my gosh, so those sound like pretty intense times of your life. Like, can you speak on like how did your family find out? Like, were they receptive to it? How was that? I mean,
oh my god,
you know, we have Asian parents. We're both Asian. They're fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Really remember how it went down. I know I wasn't living with my parents anymore. I moved out quite early when I was in my teens. I'd gone back to visit, like still for holidays, and that was at the point where I was kind of hiding what I was doing, saying that I was a bartender, but being really sneaky about naming names about places, or I'd say it's like a after hours, it moves around, like I can't really say where it is, just like really shady lies like that. And then I'm pretty sure my mom knew something was up, and she loved going through my stuff at the time, like she's Snoopy detective. Yep. So yeah, she went through my backpack or something, obviously found the big clear heels. She's obviously seen a TV show or two, so put everything together. She was so mad, so furious. She took my stuff, she stole my stuff.
Oh my gosh.
The shoes, my stripper money, my outfits, everything that was in my backpack. We had like a huge screaming match, and basically like we didn't talk to each other for like quite a few years, or like it was really tense. I mean, but the funny thing is now, like, you know, fast forward to many years later, she doesn't care. Like she knows that it's part of me and like who I am, and it's actually harmless compared to like a lot of things.
Other things, right?
Yeah, a lot of other things you could be doing in life, and she knows I'm not hurting anybody. And I think recently she just realized strippers make money. Like, I don't know what she thought before, but
we certainly make money.
Yeah, she got one of my bank statements because I move around a lot, so I forwarded all my mail to my parents' house for a year, and she accidentally opened one of my bank statements.
Oh, accidentally?
Yeah, accidentally. I like she used to accidentally open my backpack and accidentally steal my shoes. You know, she accidentally opened my mail. Yeah, and then she realized, strippers don't necessarily strip because they're in dire straits and they need the money every time they go into the strip club. So I think after that, you know, she really changed her mind about stripping.
Wow, that's crazy, because it can take a lot for parents to come around, if they even come around. Like, it can be very tricky navigating that topic with them, right?
It wasn't an easy journey by any means, and it was a long one. I mean, you know, like my mom's retired now, so she's learned how to kind of chill, but when she was being a mom and, you know, having a career and everything going on, it was a lot for her to handle.
Yeah, that's really tricky.
I probably didn't tell her in the right way. families. You know, it probably wasn't easy to hear that this is what your daughter like wants to do and truly is this person in her heart. Like, so she's come a long way.
That's
with
good.
The whole stripping thing, yeah.
What about like the rest of your family? Are they kind of open about it as well at this point? I mean, like you're pretty big, so.
I've just started teaching a lap dance class at swingers parties.
Fun.
So my aunt and uncle actually mentioned the last time I saw them, they, you know, congratulated me on my class. And my aunt actually said, she's like, oh, maybe we should take it. You know, I could learn a thing or two. So yeah, the rest of my family's pretty chill about it. My dad's like, just do whatever makes you happy. And my brother's just like, I know about it. I just don't really need to hear about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I get it. Totally get it. Yeah, it's so interesting because with my family too, like I'm Asian obviously, and it's so tricky because Asian parents are so known to be like super authoritative, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
One of them is chill, and the other one is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to kind of have that conversation. Like, did you ever have to like sit down with them to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing, just to like lay it out all in there for them to understand? Or like, hey, I saw this, and they kind of put two and two together kind of thing?
It was more of them catching me in the act and kind of putting two and two together and then having a blowout about it and then not talking about it and then having the same thing happen again. It's only been recently that I've felt that myself and my mom have both been chill enough to have that conversation. My dad and I, for sure, like had conversations way back when, especially when my mom wasn't even talking to me.
Right.
But my mom, it's taken her a long time to not get emotional about it all.
Yeah, like I feel like parents like just think it's like the end of the world. They're like, oh my god, my daughter is stripping for money and blah blah blah, and like they think it's just so bad. When I feel like compared to other situations, like, you know, people that are addicted to drugs and doing like illegal shit and stuff, like I would feel like that is a lot more worse than like stripping, because I feel like with stripping I feel like we're really in control of what we do. I choose to be there. Of course, we have to acknowledge other situations that people are forced into that situation, whatnot. But speaking to my experiences and your experiences as well, like we want to be there. And as you said earlier, like we're not doing any harm to ourselves. So I feel like
and I think that the idea of people saying nobody wants that for their daughters, I don't think that's true either. Like I think what no one wants for their daughters is for them to do it and not be happy and proud about it and do it for some other reason, like they're being forced to, or an addiction or something like that. To say nobody wants that for their daughters, if I had a daughter, it's not that I wouldn't want that for her. I would want her to do it in a smart way.
Totally.
So I think times are changing, and I think, you know, my mom's starting to kind of come around. Maybe one day I could take her to a strip club when we're on vacation, you know, give her a whole bunch of whatever currency of the country that we're in and just tell her to go wild. It would just be fun to see.
That would be a lot of fun.
It would just be fun to see her in that environment.
Yeah, totally. A different kind of mother bonding.
Yeah.
Mother-daughter bonding. Well, obviously with like you starting to strip and stuff, you've really been able to build out a career out of it. You've definitely been presented with a lot of really unique opportunities. Can you kind of speak on some of those that kind of stand out?
Well, that wasn't the plan. I mean, the plan really was I didn't have a plan and I needed money and I knew that stripping I could make some money doing that. But, you know, like after being in it for X amount of times and so many years, opportunities and ideas just kind of presented themselves. And once you're doing the same thing over and over again, like you're going on stage and you're dancing, you want something else, right? You're like, what else can this evolve into? So once I was dancing and making my own money, I could actually fund a lot of the things I was interested in. So I could actually put down money for better headshots and then get more acting gigs that way. I could put away money so I could travel the world and see like what kind of person I want to be and what kind, like who I am, like what I am, like what I'm like in different situations all over the world, right? Really get to explore things. And then with that came a whole bunch of different opportunities. Like did a whole bunch of nude photo shoots for workshops, calendars, magazine publications, art. From that came a bunch of nude TV shows, like the late night Skinamax stuff, you know,
gosh.
like the lesbian scissoring and all that kinds, like, you know, like all that kinds of like softcore stuff. And then from that came like touring across Canada with the dancing. And then I had worked for Naked News for a short time, reporting the news and doing that. And then now I MC and teach at Young Swingers Week, which is swingers parties down at Hedonism, which is sex-friendly nude resort down in Jamaica.
So freaking cool. I don't know anyone that does this. It's the best job ever. So okay, let's rewind. So there's a couple things there. So can you speak about naked news? So is that literally just you're reading news and you're naked and like?
Yeah, for the most part, you start off either like in an outfit or lingerie, and then you read the news while you're stripping. You read it off a teleprompter. That's what it is most of the time. And then there's things like interview people. Like I used to interview bands. That was my thing, was like the music stuff. And then sometimes you go on location and do things. But yeah, it's mostly like in the studio, reading a teleprompter,
Wow.
taking your clothes off. Yeah.
It sounds so simple.
Yeah, it really is.
It's so much fun though. And then now you're a host for a young swingers week, and that happens when?
Well, it was 3 times a year, and then now next year it's going to be 4. We have 4 full takeovers of the resort, so
wow.
basically quarterly. We'll just say quarterly.
Gosh.
So next year there's March, July, and I think it'll be September and November.
Fun!
Yeah.
Oh my god. So how did you even get into that? Like, have you been to a nude resort before being presented with this hosting gig, or like how did you kind of get involved with this organization?
Well, being from Toronto, there's a lot of swingers resorts and naked and nude friendly kind of places that you can hang out at. There's I think there's about 5 nightclubs that I know of that are
in Toronto.
that are sex friendly and have
What?
playrooms
Really?
and you can be naked. Yeah, there's 5. So
is that regular, like, or is that just per event, or?
no, that's like they're open on the regular, like weekly.
What?
So
Oh,
being
gosh,
from
amazing.
Toronto, that was always kind of a normal thing for me. And then stepping into modeling inside a lingerie store when I was right of age too, I just kind of walked a very weird path in life. So it all kind of amounted to Young Swingers Week. And yeah, it just felt like the natural thing to do. But yeah, I had been involved in going to clubs like that before I had started doing the naked party vacations.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's so cool, because I only know of like a couple places in Vancouver that do that. I honestly really one place that does that in Vancouver that's like on the regular, and then other places have like special events. So it's cool that Toronto has like a scene that's super welcoming like that. Do you remember like the first time that you'd visited one? Were you there with a boyfriend or something, or like you just went on your own? Because usually you have to come with a couple or but like be invited or.
Yeah, well, it was what like way back when I was working window, when I was modeling in the window, and a lot of the girls there, they're a bit older than I was, and lingerie store at the time was very like forward thinking because they actually had a lot of latex and kink and restraints and
cool.
stuff in that store, which you didn't normally see. Like that back then, there was a lot of novelty sex stores, but this was like pretty heavy on the kink. So the people that worked there were in a very underground scene, and I got invited to fetish parties, and that was my first experience in the whole lifestyle. So I didn't know what swingers were at the time. I didn't know what like swinging vacations were. I thought there was either vanilla or kink, and you could be one or the other, and that's what you have to decide. And I was
just
like
black and white.
Yeah, you know,
Make a decision.
I was pretty young, and I had really no one to teach me what was going on. So to me, I was like, well, I know that I'm not vanilla, so I guess I'm on this side, and this is what I'm doing. So I would throw on, you know, like the latex and the boots and everything, and go dance to like the gothy EDM music, and watch people in these like dungeon scenes and all this.
So stereotypical.
And feeling comfortable enough to be there, but also like I don't know if this is like my thing, but I feel like this is more my thing than
vanilla.
Than, you know, doing it missionary style with the blinds closed and
lights down and like
like lights very down and feeling super self-conscious the entire time. Right. Yeah, that was my first experience into it, and then from there I just really like exploring things. So once I found out about that, I was like, oh well, what else is there? Like what else can I go to that might not be so heavy on the pain?
Yes.
Yeah. Although there's nothing wrong. I love going to kink parties now, and I have so many friends that are into the BDSM and like being a part of it, but I'm more of a tourist in scenes. I like dabbling and then moving on. Yeah.
Do you ever visit any like Vancouver Fetish Week, any of the nights here, any of that?
I haven't, not yet, but this weekend coming, I got hired by Plur Productions to do one of their parties. A mansion in West Vancouver. It's a takeover. It's going to be my first experience with them. I'm going to be doing a 10 to 20 minute show. I think I'm going to bring like a LED whip with me and see what I can do with that. And yeah, check out the whole scene. So that's going to be my first on the West Coast. So So
I'll have to follow up on you on that.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's going to be like. All I know is there's a pool, there's a mansion, there's 3 playrooms, and
Fun.
the theme is white, gold, and body paint. All those things I like, so I
Perfect.
think it'll be good.
Sounds like a great party.
Yeah.
So in terms of like swinger parties, you've obviously been to a lot of them in Toronto. What's that like for people that are, you know, first coming into it?
I think the most popular question people ask me is, if I go to a swingers party, is someone gonna have to like force me to have sex? And like my response to that is, how is someone going to force you to have sex once you step in the doors?
Yeah, it
so
just sounds so silly.
no, there's no forced sex going on unless you're role playing and that's the thing that you're into.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, depending on the place, if it's a club, you walk in and it'll look like a normal club. There's, you know, your coat check and your different booths and bottle service and all that. And then oftentimes you would walk into a different part of the building that would be a play area. And that's where there's either a private room set up or a big room with like a big orgy bed. That's a few king size beds pushed together,
yes.
you know, or like a big shower with kind of, you know, clear or like glass all around so you can see.
Fun.
Yeah, there's like some places have sex wings, some places have dungeons. It really depends on the place. I think for the most part, everyone's expecting it to be really intense and everyone to really be heavily focused on getting laid like it's a race. But that's not the feeling I get. It's more like a reunion of your freaky friends that you can kind of be yourself around.
Totally.
And just having a good time. And I don't think, for me personally, the goal when I go to these places isn't always to get laid either. Sometimes just being in the environment is what I want out of the experience.
Yeah.
And then other times, I want to get buck wild and go crazy. Feeling like I'm in a place where I don't feel like the odd one out like I usually do is the cool part for me.
Well, it's cool because it's just such a cool environment because you're in a room full of people that kind of think the same way that you do, and you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I feel so uncomfortable. No, it's like, because I went to my first like swinger party last year, and I went to Eden. I don't know if you've ever been to Eden.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so it's basically like as you described, it looks like a regular nightclub. You walk in, and there's like a big dance floor, there's like lounge chairs on the side, there's a bar, there's like a pole in the middle of the room, and that's just kind of like the general area. And then you go to the second floor, then there's like private rooms, or you could have the curtains open, there's like a sex wing, there's like a dungeon, whatever room that you want to do things in.
Yeah.
It's available to you, and then they have like all the condoms and all that stuff that you need for that kind of playtime. And then the third floor up is like a big orgy, kind of like anything goes.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that, rather than say your regular nightclub, is if you decide to be that slutty girl and just wear basically lingerie as your costume, that's fine and that's cool, and that's probably what half the other people are there doing too. Totally. If you want to be that slutty girl that makes out with your boyfriend and also makes out with another girl on the dance floor, no one's going to turn around and whisper about you, right? Because everyone else is doing that too. So for people who are used to being called the slut in the room like me, it's kind of like it's nice to be in a room where everybody's the slut.
Where we all belong.
Yeah, right? It's a slut party.
So interesting. Like it was actually just a lot more, like for my experience, it was a lot more comfortable than I had thought. Because I had gone there like with an ex-boyfriend of mine now. I was like a little bit nervous going into it first. I was like, well, I've never done this before, but I've always been curious about it. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I have so much hesitation. Like, what do you wear? And like, about these people, is everyone going to hit on me? Like, do I have to have sex? The answer is no. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I didn't sleep with anyone. I didn't make out with anyone else except for my boyfriend and I. We just like kept the curtains open and gave a nice show. So
yeah, and like that's part of what I really love to do too, because like I'm an exhibitionist, obviously, with the stripping and photo shoots, but I'm also a huge voyeur. Like, as much of an exhibitionist I am, I feel like I'm that much of a voyeur. So being in a place where I can just see things and watch things, and everyone does everything so differently, you know? Right. It's almost like, depending on your mindset, you can be like, wow, this is like totally scientific, or this is really hot. I don't know, right?
Both. We're all pervs in the end. But.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough about swingers, but not enough about swingers, because I want to know more about the nude resorts specifically, because I've never been to one. I've always wanted to go.
Well, I guess, what do you want to know about the nude resort?
Everything. So what's it like when you go? How do you go? Is there a specific program, as you said? Because you said there's a takeover for this particular program, Swingers Week.
I work for Young Swingers Week, which is at Hedonism. That's in Negril, Jamaica. So what we do is we take over the resort, which means we buy the rooms and then we sell them at youngswingersweek.com. And this event is for couples who like to meet other like-minded couples, or who are open-minded or curious or heavy into the swinging, or have other friends that are in the swinging lifestyle. And a lot of times they just like to meet up at our event just to party together for a week. So what we do is every night there's a different theme. You wear, as little or as much as you want, and the only rules is you have to wear clothes, and I say that in quotations, in the dining room, which means like wear your underwear, don't put your junk on the dining room table. Yeah. But everywhere else you can pretty much be naked and it's not a big deal. And there's actually one side of the resort where it's mandatory nude, so you have to take your clothes off or you cannot come to that side. There's a security guard that will tell you take those off right now.
Wow.
Because you're on the nude side. And that's where I work. I MC the nude parties on the nude side, where I run different kinds of sexy, crazy, wild competitions and see all kinds of things happen. And I also teach my lap dancing class there. It's actually like a class I developed to help build intimacy and play and flirting between couples. So yeah, there's a lot going on this event. We bring in our own DJ. So we have like some of our theme nights might be like 90s EDM, where you just kind of cover yourself in glow paint and go wild.
So cool.
There's a steampunk and fetish night, so everyone comes out in leather looking really hot. They change like every event. So yeah, and we've got
so cool.
Yeah, we've got like people that are there to help you with like kink. There's like leather masters there. They're from Texas, so they like know everything about kink. We've got Sex Because they're like therapy couples, so they help couples get through kind of like the rough times, and they also teach. Yeah, there's tons of seminars like for new people, right? Like Swinging 101, what to expect. There's Playboy radios there. There's just
cool. There's so many things
we have
going
so
on.
many cool sponsors and people that show up to this event just to kind of make it fun for everyone and make sure that everyone has something going on there. So yeah, it's like imagine one of the parties that you've been to, except an entire week. Your room is on location. For me, I like it because it gives me more time to like meet and flirt with couples. It takes me a couple days before I get comfortable and I'm like, okay, let's hook up.
Yeah.
So like
I want to ask about that.
I like moving at a slower pace, so that for me, that's why I like the swinging vacation, because like for me to hook up like on the night when it's only one night, I have to get kind of trashed, I think, and I don't necessarily always want to do that. So,
no.
Yeah, I like taking my time.
Yeah, definitely taking it slow. Yeah, because I hear you. Because then it's just kind of like regular dating. Like, I mean, for me at least, I want to try to like get to know these people first. I don't want to just like jump in right away.
Yeah, and I have to know them as a couple. Like, I have to like both him and her as individuals and as a couple. Like, I guess I'm picky. I guess that's what it is.
You can be picky. You're allowed to be.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Yeah, so it's more time. You can kind of move at your own pace, and you can make it full. You can make your vacation fully about the sexual part of it, and just go to the parties, drink, have sex in the daytime playroom, nighttime playroom, do all the seminars, learn about tying each other up, and get crazy. Or some couples like to go on little dates, like off the resort. They'll go somewhere together with like another couple they met. It's really it's cool how people kind of navigate it and make it their own thing.
Are there like a lot of regulars that go, or is there like a new batch of people every single time that this happens?
It's a good mix of both. Yeah, it's a good mix of both. There's couples that I've seen over and over again, but there's always a mix of both, like new and experienced. Yeah, experienced.
That's amazing. So it's basically, it just sounds like a really cool all-inclusive resort, plus a mixture of like, the Taboo convention that happens here in Vancouver, because you have like different workshops and like seminars and like things you can do throughout the day. So that seems pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, you can learn, you can fuck, you can do whatever you want. And bonus for me, especially, is like the food at Hedonism is amazing. Like,
ooh, definitely a bonus.
Yeah. I do a thing where I like act as like a naked sushi platter.
Oh, cool, yeah. Classic.
Yeah, like I started it just once as a joke and it became a thing. Now it's like every time we're there, I kind of on the sushi night just grab a little sushi and wear it. It's become a thing.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it's like the weird stuff you can get into there that no one cares. Everyone's just like, yeah, that's awesome. Like,
they're so into it.
Yeah, I went to my friend's naked wedding in March. Yeah, it was great.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was nice. It was like I still cried and everything. Like they were all like naked and sexy, but like it was still like the sweetest like ceremony ever.
I've never even heard of that before. A naked wedding. What's that like? It's just like a wedding without clothes.
Yeah, like everyone came over from the nude pool party, which happens all day, and they were getting married. Maybe it was like 5 p.m. or something like that.
So cool.
They wanted the sunset. There's a lot of people just in their beachwear. The DJ showed up in a towel with a plate of nachos. It was like really casual. It was a good mix of people.
Sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, but it was all like good vibes, good times, and it was just it was like any other wedding except
naked.
Yeah, more naked.
So cool. What are some of the rules, like, before you go? Is there, like, a screening or anything like that? Or, like, what's the process? Or you just pay and you go? Or, like, what are some of the things that you, like, cannot do when you're there?
Well, I think the biggest thing that you can't do is anything that someone wouldn't want you to do without consent. Like, that's a big thing, especially, like, now in this day and age when with everything that's happened all over the world, like, we preach consent like crazy because that's the age that we live in now. So that's the biggest thing is just, like, be respectful of other people's bodies, listen to what they're saying, and if you can't do that, then maybe it might not be the right place for you. But that's the biggest rule, and that's why we have so many seminars, is to help remind people, you know, especially if you've been drinking, that you just, you know, sometimes people get excited, things happen. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is consent. But with screening, no, usually people have an online profile somewhere on swingers websites like Cassidy or like SDC or Adult Friend Finder. So you can kind of check out the couple online if you know the places to look.
And you mentioned that hedonism is just for couples. There's no singles available
no,
or allowed.
No,
there are.
No, you can go. Hedonism has all kinds of different
packages, I suppose?
Different weeks or different events. There's pole events that some of you might be interested in. Yeah. That's there's pole events, there's photo shoot events, there's, you know, there's like pageants and stuff. I've been crossed over on weeks where there's like dance events for couples. There's all kinds of different things. So it's really like a fantasy resort. That's what I think it is.
That's what I've always heard. So have you heard anything like that has gone down at any of these resorts? Or they're all good times? Like any controversy or anything like that?
I think that no matter what, when in any place that you mix nudity and alcohol, there's going to be controversy, whether it be a strip club or a swingers resort. There's going to be some people that don't know how to behave.
There's a fine line, right? So.
Yeah, but then there's also security and people around to make sure that people do behave.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, there's always security walking around to make sure that everyone's okay. And
behaving.
And even in the playroom, there's security right at the front door.
Okay.
So yeah, you there's never a point where you feel like you can't be helped if you need to. But most of the time, like, the worst thing that I've really seen is like, someone got drunk and like choked on a straw or something, something strange like that. But I think when you mix alcohol and nudity, sometimes weird things happen.
Definitely. What are some of your favorite events at Young Swingers Week?
Oh, you mean besides my own class that I teach? No, I'm just saying that because it's brand new and I'm excited about it. But some of my favorite events, I love Glow Night because it's like all EDM. You can come out. I basically wear a G-string and like glitter on my boob and maybe some stickers and some rhinestones and a whole bunch of glow paint. And I just love that you can dance till you're so sweaty, you know, like you're outside, it doesn't matter, your outfit's not going to be ruined because you're not wearing an outfit. You can jump into the pool naked with your friends and then keep dancing. Like, you can sneak off with you and your friends and your partner and go have sex on the beach and then come back to the party. Like, it's like everything I've ever wanted in a rave. And it's outdoors and you're dancing under the sky. Like,
you're in Jamaica.
And you're in Jamaica, right? It's just like the most perfect night. Like if this had existed when I was 18, or if I had known about this or had the money to go to something like that when I was younger, I would have opened a door to fun earlier.
Totally. Like, how much would this cost? Like, is it per couple, I guess?
You buy the room, and it depends.
On the time of year?
It depends on the time of year. For Young Swingers Week, for us, it depends on the kind of room, because there's some jacuzzi rooms, and there's some, if you want to stay on the naked side of the resort, it's going to cost more than if you stay on the clothing optional side.
Right.
You know, all the regular stuff, too, like beachfront or garden view, take those into account. You book through either the group that you want to book with or hedoplanner.com, which is the hedonism website. And I think the prices do do vary depending on the group.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into this later. Do my homework.
Get some research going on. Yeah,
Definitely.
it's a cool vacation, and like I can see why some of the older people that go there stay for weeks on end. It's really chill and like
super chill for what you described.
You get really comfortable with waking up and not putting your clothes on, walking out the door. Everyone's so friendly and says good morning to everyone, even the staff. Anyone you walk by wants to have a conversation with you, or at least says hi, how's your day going? And it's just such a nice, friendly vibe because everyone's getting laid all the time. Everyone's happy as hell. Everyone's saying hi, good morning, because you just had sex. You just had a crazy orgy. You're walking out with like eight of your good friends now, and you're like, hey, how's it going? We're just gonna go get a sandwich because we all just got laid. And then the people saying hi to you are also in that same situation where they're like, we just totally did it by the pool. Hi.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's like adult Disneyland, I guess, like the happiest place in the world. Everyone's happy.
That is awesome. Like, definitely selling it. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested after hearing this podcast for sure.
If you're a naked weirdo, it's a good place to go. I feel like a lot of my friends that I've met there have always felt like they were a bit weird. Mm-hmm. And this is the place where you're just like, okay, finally I can say it to all my friends. This is what I'm into. And then all your friends are like, cool, okay. But it's like there's, I guess, people with certain kinks and fetishes, especially if you're from certain places and have certain professions, you can't be open about your life to your friends and family. So I could see how that really makes you want to shout it out from the rooftops even more, or find a place where you feel like you fit in.
So I know like maybe going to like a nude resort can be kind of overwhelming at first. If people are interested in swinging, like what are some of your tips in terms of like getting started or getting into the community?
I think the biggest thing is if you're already a couple, or even if you're looking to meet someone that would be interested in doing that, is communicate that with the person. Like, don't try to trick someone into the situation, or don't say, hey, I'm going to take you to a club, and then boom, by the way, we're at a swingers club, surprise. That usually,
oh no.
Like if your partner is super spontaneous, that might go well, but I think for the most part, it's a lot of talking and explaining where this desire comes from, and then figuring out what both of you would be comfortable with. Like there's like a saying that a lot of us use. It says, go as fast as the slowest person. If you and I were in a relationship and I was like, hey, I really want to have anal with you on the beach in front of like a whole bunch of people, and then I want them to join, and that's my fantasy. And you're just hearing this for the first time and you're like, okay, but we've never done anything together before. Do you think maybe we could go to a nude beach and just be naked in public?
Yeah.
And then
baby steps, right?
Right, exactly. And then it would be probably the nicer thing for me to do as a partner.
Yeah.
Is to do what you're comfortable with.
It'd be appreciative.
And see how things go, right?
Yeah.
So I think the best thing is like go as slow as the slowest person, and really talk about things before, after, during, like, and be honest. Like, that was weird, I didn't like it, or I did like it way more than I thought I would. And then kind of just see what's right for you. Like, maybe going online and meeting a couple and inviting them over, or like getting a hotel room is like the way you want to do it. Or maybe you're more like me and you want to spend the whole week getting to know people. Or maybe you just want to go in and out and go to a nightclub and like, I don't want to know your name, let's just go, right? But whatever it is, like, I think it's the same as dating anywhere. It's like you got to find what way you're comfortable with.
I think like nowadays a lot of people are more receptive to kind of being in open relationships, or being kind of open to that. So I feel like monogamy isn't supernatural, but it can be like a tricky conversation to navigate around. Do you have any experience with that?
It is a tricky conversation to navigate around, because people have a lot of ego, and we're taught a lot of things too, right? Especially about monogamy and love, and how the two are tied together, and you might love someone, the idea you might love someone less if you don't want to be monogamous with them.
Right.
Whereas I kind of, I have seen things from that point of view before, and now I play either with my partner, or, with another woman, or he brings someone else into our playtime. It actually makes me love him more, because he's giving me these experiences because he cares about me, and he knows that I want to explore certain things about myself. So I really feel like restrictions don't help a relationship.
Yes.
I feel like if you're, it's just like if you have a dog, if you're just tugging on the leash the whole time, your dog is not going to listen to you, and it's not going to love you and respect you. It's always going to feel like it wants to run away the first second, or the first chance it gets. Yeah. So relationships are like that too. I think it's definitely not an easy conversation to have. I don't think we're monogamous creatures either. I mean, you look at the animal kingdom and you look at how animals operate, but they can do it without, the jealousy and all that stuff. And like jealousy's not bad. It's totally normal and like it never goes away. But I think what people need to realize is just because I have sex with another person, I don't want to put anyone down, but usually sex with another person isn't so great and mind-blowing that you want to toss your whole life up, right? Leave the person that you're with, like, move to another state or something and wreck their, have them change their whole family and life too, and that you're going to be together because you hooked up once because it was that good, And
right.
It's more... I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds a little extreme. But I think for all the experiences that my partner and I have together with other people have made the sex afterwards between us even better.
Kind of strengthens it a bit.
Yeah, and then we have all these fun experiences to draw from, and there's like good stuff in your spank bank for when you're thinking about it later.
Yes.
And I would rather live my life as a freaky weirdo, trying things and, having a partner that was open to that too, than maybe conforming to what someone else wanted from me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, not all of my relationships have been non-monogamous. The most of them I tried really hard to be monogamous, and what happened was there was a lot of cheating going on both sides.
Because again, it's not natural.
And it hurts when someone's cheating. Even if you want to be non-monogamous, but when it's not consensual and someone still cheats on you and it's behind your back, that hurts.
It still hurts.
If you say to your partner, I like that girl, do you think we can invite her over? And your partner says, do whatever you want. If you like her, then go talk to her. Sure, whatever.
That's amazing.
Isn't that a nicer experience than trying to meet that girl behind your partner's back and then lying to everybody?
Yeah. That just takes a lot more effort and just more energy, and I'm just not down with that.
I'm a shitty liar.
Yeah, me too. I'm just stuck. Well, that being said, I guess we'll go to some Q&A that some people had for you. I guess most of it, a lot of it has to do with your time at hedonism and, of course, nude resorts, which is great because that's the main chunk of our conversation today. So this person's asking, is there a certain legal age you have to be to visit a nude resort? I would imagine you have to be over 19.
Yeah, it's obviously over 19.
Yeah.
So I think that's the legal drinking age in most places. But I'd say across the board, over 19 is the age you need to be.
Yeah, typically. That was an easy one. How old were you when you went to your first nude resort or hedonism?
My first nude resort, so for the whole week, I think I was 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the whole week. But
whole week. But before I'd been to sex clubs, you know, for a night, but nude resort, for the whole week. Yeah, I was 26.
Oh my gosh. And it was amazing.
And I kept doing it.
Yeah, and you're still doing it now you're hosting
it. Yeah.
What was the first sexual experience you had at a nude resort?
That's
a good question. If you can remember.
Okay, well, it wasn't full-on intercourse, but the first time I showed up at hedonism, within 10 minutes, this is what happened. I met a gentleman, and he said, it's your first time here. Do you want to meet my wife? We come here all the time. So I'm like, sure, I'll meet your wife. Where is she? Brings me down this path, down into this jungle area, and his wife is full-on getting it doggy style by another guy just over a hammock, and he's like, honey, this is her first time here. He's like, this is my wife. And then her and her guy were both waving at me while she's just getting pounded. And I'm like, wow, okay, where am I? This is crazy. And then so the guy's like, hey, do you want to try out all my whips and my floggers? And I'm just like, well, we're in the jungle. I've already met your wife. Well, she has a penis in her. We're gonna just do things. So yeah, he had 10 different floggers made of all different animal hides, had me bent over a hammock and whipping my butt in the jungle. So that was within the first 10 minutes, but
that's insane.
But yeah, there's a lot of not full-on sex events that happen, but I think my very first sexual experience at a swingers resort, I think it might have been an eightsome.
Oh wow. I have just this visual right now.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to think of anything that happened before then ever, but I'm just maybe it was an eightsome. It's hard to say.
Was that the craziest experience, or what would you deem as your best
That was one of the best ones.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How did that even happen though? Like, how did that unfold?
I ran to like this couple's room and kind of invited myself in, and then other people started showing up, and it was just like people we were meeting for the first time, or I don't know how people knew to show up there, but people just started showing up to this room. Yeah, it just turned into a nice like group experience. It was a good time. There was one year a couple brought a sybian in its own suitcase. And
wait, hang on. What's a sybian?
It's maybe you should Google it and like just
should I Google that?
Yeah, just tell your audience your thoughts once you Google it.
How do you Google this?
Sybian.
Okay.
It's better if you just see what it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what it's called. Okay.
Yeah. It's like the dildo saddle.
Yes, okay, now I know. Okay, I didn't know this was an actual term for this. Guys, I want to try this.
I
heard about
someone brought one. It needed its own suitcase, right?
Okay,
its own little carry-on suitcase.
Definitely.
And
amazing.
Yeah, this thing I would invite to any party because it's really a good time.
Damn.
It's fun for everybody.
Oh man, if anyone has a sybian, please let me know. If you're having a party soon.
Right? I just feel like if you own a sybian, you should be having more parties.
Right.
Because not everyone has one.
No. Back to questions. I'm like, oh my god, it's so interesting. Okay, yeah, this is a question I was expecting. Someone asked, does everyone just fuck like crazy at hedonism and those like sex cruises and getaways?
I think people fuck as much as they want to. I don't know if it's like crazy because, you gotta eat. Like, sometimes you just want to like go out and meet friends and go out dancing and stuff. I mean, it depends on what kind of vacation you want. There are definitely couples that maximize their time having sex. And then there's couples that just really like being naked, or they like the costume part, or maybe they just like being in a sexy environment with their partner. It kind of, it helps their relationship, or it helps them feel sexy. So I don't think it's people fucking all the time everywhere, but it can be depending on who you are.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen some like star players that really get out there a lot, and then I've seen people that are more private about it. Like some people are liking to do it outdoors, some people keep it in their own hotel room. So yeah, but will you see people having sex outside and in the cabanas and on the beach and in the playrooms? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're gonna see people doing some things everywhere but the dining room.
That's just the norm there, guys. And then we have the last question here. Do you know of any naturist areas in BC? So I guess like nude areas besides Wreck Beach.
Yeah, besides Wreck Beach, I was looking into a naturist club. It's in North Van. I haven't been there yet, but it's not. It's really into naturism. Like I don't think it's like a sex resort. It's like it looks like they have nudist dinners, like nudist Thanksgiving. And you play volleyball and things like that. I've wanted to go. It seems super fun. Like, why not go to a nudist Thanksgiving? That's badass. Eat some turkey naked. Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, like, I get like food all over my clothes anyway, so being naked is just probably better. But that's the only place that I know of in BC.
What about Toronto? Anything in Toronto?
There's Hamlin's Point, which is an island that you can just take a little ferry over to.
Oh, okay.
But if you are a female, keep in mind it's legal for you to be topless almost anywhere in Canada.
This is true.
If you are female. If you're male, then you would have to find probably a nude beach, or what I like to do if I can't find a place is sometimes I look for secluded cottages or cabins to rent.
There we go.
And go on a little naked kayaking trip or something. Do something kind of like that.
Pro tips, guys. Pro tips.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of our questions here. So where can we find you?
You can find everything you need to know at katemaxx.com. I'm also on OnlyFans under Kate Maxx, and Instagram, Kate_Maxx. Yeah, just use the Google search bar. I'm everywhere.
Yes.
It's all over. And sometimes live on stage too.
And of course, Young Swingers Week. Super cool. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. We'll catch you guys again next Sunday for another episode of Strip by Sia. See you guys later. You're listening to Stripped by Sia, produced and hosted by Steph Sia, aka Kimchi. Music by Ted D. Photography by Ian Dabern.